What's going on, everybody? It's Achilles WT coming at you with a brand new video, and in today's video we will be showcasing the new Kael'Thas again because this guy gets changed every single patch. Now, to be fair, the guys working on this game, the development team, they have stated that this might be the exact ideal spot that they wanted for Kael'Thas. Doesn't mean that they won't do anything to him in another patch. But they basically made the full conversion to him that was starting to be the process in the last patch by making him a complete AoE mage, basically the fire equivalent to Jaina, if you will. So, with that being said, now we are going to attempt to make a build centered around our Q ability. Now, I just experimented with this in the game before this that I actually lost, but what seemed to be a bust of an attempt ended up becoming quite lucrative. Like, to put it simply, we went from having like very unimpressive damage to basically skyrocketing in a matter of like 3 to 4 minutes when it was actually complete. So the thing that I came to the conclusion of with this build is that you basically just have to commit to it. You can't be like kind of half-assing it, so to say. You got to commit to the fact that you're going to be throwing out your Qs and just hope for the best, which is exactly what we're going to attempt to do. That's the end goal here, so hopefully we can pull that off. Now, the thing I will mention when I go over these compositions, the friendly composition will be a Hammer, Chen, Asmodan, myself as KT, ETC going against a Nova, Gazel, Li Ming, ETC, and a Diablo. The thing that I want to mention is that this is going to be a little hard for me to pull off considering that the enemy team does have a Nova at the moment, and she is basically going to be spending the lion's share of her game trying to negate me, which is the absolute right call on her part. That's exactly what she should be doing. Now, it's worth mentioning that so far, we haven't really had trouble landing any of our abilities, but I am currently out of mana, so I have to back. Right now, we're at 6 stacks, which is definitely a lot better than what I did in the last game. The last game, I died a few times in the early game. Wasn't really getting stacks, but again, I've realized in hindsight, it's because I wasn't committing to it. I was still trying to play my old style with a different build, and that's not the way it works. Now, one thing I just noticed that we do kind of have going in our favor here is that we have 2 specialists that can actually push, and that double push in the same lane could quite possibly be enough to force Nova out of the type of situation she wants to be in. And what I mean by that is basically she's not going to have as much time to focus on me so much as having to rotate around to play for picks that actually stop and defend the push. So it remains to be seen if that'll be a thing, but right now it seems like that's what's been keeping her off my case. I don't expect that to be the case for the rest of the game, so we're gonna have to really earn this one. Not gonna lie, there's no guarantee that I'm gonna complete this quest because you do need to land 20 flame strikes without dying. So like, it's not just the fact that you have to land them, it's the fact that you have to not die as well. The fact that the enemy team probably knows that they're gonna assume every Kael'Thas in the game now is going for this build. So Kael'Thas was already see what I'm saying? Kael'Thas was already a focused target before. He's going to be a ridiculously like overly focused target moving forward now because his other builds have been kind of nerfed to insignificance. And for anybody that's wondering, that's curious, I had actually experimented with the other builds to see if it was still viable, and the answer is there's still damage with if you're going for a living bomb build. The problem is you don't kill people fast enough for it to be relevant. That's legitimately the issue. Like the burst value is no longer there. They finally nerfed it to the point where it's not like overbearing to be on the receiving end of. Now that being said, it doesn't mean that it's completely useless because if you still spec into it and teams are passing the bomb around, it's still going to do exactly what it used to do when it was in its prime. So that didn't go anywhere. So I don't want to be like misleading with any information I'm giving out in this video at all. It's just that the burst value is a lot lower now. It's down. And we really need to be careful here because the Nova is taking a lot more chances trying to get me now. And no doubt I wouldn't be surprised if she's actually paying attention to my stat count. And that's actually what's prompting her to get a little more aggressive towards me in particular. You see, we only need 8 more stacks at the moment. So I'm gonna recall now. You may see a lot of health or a good amount of health and a good amount of mana. That's really not what I'm recalling for. I want to make sure that Nova's not at a point where she can just burst me down in one cycle in one combo, basically. I don't want that to happen because that's a lot of work that goes for nothing, basically, if I get caught at this point in the game. You do need to be careful, though. Like, we need to be careful at all times at this point. Once you hit that 20 strikes, though, like, the rest of the game becomes stress-free. Like, you can basically just go out there, not necessarily play reckless or suicidal, but of course you don't have that pressure of losing your stat count anymore. Because once you hit 20, that damage is permanent. So it's not like gathering power in that way. You do keep it after a certain point. So I definitely want to make sure I make that known for anybody who may be new to Kael'Thas that's watching this video. I do want to try and sneak one there. Unfortunately, I was not successful. However, we did get one on Kerrigan. I will say that I'm not going to chase this. I feel like this is going to lead to Nova being right behind me. Even though Nova should be, I was about to say she should be on the hammer, which she absolutely is. But you never know with these players. Just because you're seeing something a certain way doesn't mean another player is seeing something a certain way. So I don't want to assume that the Nova is going after somebody else instead of me. You want to do that? Put that right there. We do get another one on the ETC. 6 strikes away right now. We absolutely need to be careful. So right now, pretty much all I'm watching is Nova's positioning. I'm trying to see exactly where she is at the moment. And we do have the bomb spreading around like wildfire right now. ETC actually fell into the water. That was awesome. I have too many stacks at this point to risk my life, in my opinion. The upside to my damage being pushed through at the end of this quest is way more valuable than defending this turn-in right now, in my personal opinion. And nobody's saying anything yet, but even if my teammates did want to say something, I really wouldn't have cared. Because the upside, like I said, it's way higher. It's way higher if I finish this quest. I was about to say I do feel a little safer that the hammer is so weak, because the Nova is not going to focus me with a clear-cut target right there. We do get the flame to spread to Li Ming. ETC is in a position to actually make something happen. We do get a little bit of a hit right there on the enemy tank. And I'm just going to mind my positioning here. I'm staying right in between all of my friendlies as much as I possibly can. We're going to leave that right there. We will get a good amount of hits right there, so we only need one more flame strike at this point. Once we get this to go through, we're good. So I'm going to hope that lands, and we're done. So now we have the permanent increase to our damage, which means that basically everything from here on is just fun. Everything's going to be hurting. Now, the thing I need to get used to is the fact that I no longer have a sound indicator for when I'm landing flame strikes. As my teammates drop down, the living bomb is actually passing around. I don't have the range right there to put that down. I am gonna move back. I do have my stacks. We are well ahead in hero damage right now, so that does show that we were doing a good job. I was able to finish this quest within 8 minutes, so I do think that's a pretty good job, considering that I'm not a hardcore Kael'Thas user. But now we need to get some value out of it. Now that we have our stacks, we can afford to get a little more aggressive out here. Now, again, I don't want to make it seem like that means we can get suicidal. That is not the same thing. Not the same thing at all. But if that would go through, and I rushed my placement, we're going to start committing to the AoE aspects of this build from here on. So now what am I thinking? Because so far, I have grabbed 2 upgrades to my Q ability. One being the quest, and then the other one being that if I can land it on 2 targets at the same time, we get percentage-based damage, which we just did right there, which completely annihilated Gazlowe, as you just saw right there. Now, Nova is in a position where she has to make a decision over who she wants. I don't think that's the real Nova at all. We're going to try and put a Flame Strike out there. It does actually land. It was a little delayed, but it did land. And we're going to leave a Phoenix right there. Again, we're committing to the AoE aspect of this character. This is exactly what they want with this character now. They want the area of effect to be a thing. So if you're going to commit to that, you definitely don't want to go for Pyroblast. And to be honest, there are so many ways to negate Pyroblast in the game right now that as fun as it is to use, as fun as it is to watch, it's really just not worth it. Oh, man. That could have been bad. That could have been so bad. Thankfully, it wasn't. My bomb is still spreading right now. That's crazy. So these guys are not respecting the bomb at the time being, but maybe at 13, they might have a change of heart. We'll see. ETC is going to step right into that. Again, the idea behind going for the Q instead of the Q upgrades instead of the W upgrades is that the Q has way more burst potential. You kill people a lot faster with your Q upgrades than you currently do with your W upgrades. We see we secure another kill right there on Gazlo. We are going to lock down this Nova. ETC is also going to jump in on her. She's not going anywhere. At this point, we're just going to stay close by our team. Oh, man, I'm getting body blocked so bad right there. I'm going to turn in my 1 coin. Okay, didn't even work. Didn't work or wasn't needed, one or the other. I'm going to leave that out there. Diablo almost steps in. So you see right there, the enemies do not want to be hit by this thing. So if it's not landing, it's still a good source of zoning, which, again, was the idea behind the changes to Kael'Thas. That's what they want. So it's really on the player to kind of make the adjustment. He's, like I said, he's going to be the fire equivalent to Jaina. The only thing is, obviously, he doesn't have the slows. But you could argue that he has more initial burst because Jaina's burst doesn't actually kick in unless she has the chill effect on her target first. So she needs to combo her abilities to get the value out of hers, where Kael'Thas doesn't necessarily. Now that's a shame. I'm actually going to throw this right here because I think this is about to go bad. And it's a good thing that I did. I'm going to leave that right there. Didn't hit anything. I'm going to put that on Diablo. He will spread that around. We're going to put that there to zone them back and disengage. A lot of bodies falling right now, man. A lot of bodies. Thankfully, getting our resources back has not been that big of an issue. I'm going to leave that right there just in case. Pretty sure that Li Ming was still going to be there because that tower, if she spits on it, it's going down. All right. Could grab this. You see our damage is so good right now. Like, we're actually pretty effective at helping out on camps now. 754 on that burst. That's a lot. And we're not even at like full peak power yet. All right. So we do have 5 coins to turn in. The only 5 coins that we have on the team right now. Just noticed that. Definitely want to get rid of those. I don't like, anybody who's accustomed to seeing my channel by now knows that I don't like walking around with a bunch of coins on me. That could have been bad. This is still going to be bad. Trying my best to get this ETC off of me. Looks like my team was able to secure the kill. So I am going to leave that there just to zone the enemy team away a little bit. I do have to be careful, though, because Nova could just wrap around and look for the easy kill on me. So we're going to back away because I really think that's what's happening. And I'm going to recall here. Just trying to stay alive. So Nova, whether she was doing that or not, she's now back here with her team. Hopefully our guys actually do a good job of staying alive, even though it is a bit of a hard sell right now because ETC is so low. Enemy team does have double the amount of kills we have right now, so we do need to clean it up. You could go for this. We could absolutely go for this. Again, this is the fun part with this build. You already got the hard work done. Now you can just kind of sit back, throw fire around, and have a good time. The fun factor is definitely impossible to nerf on Kael. At least I feel like. As much as they change him around. But look at that. We actually, lucky timing, we got 2 regen globes out of that right there. I would like to walk right around this wave and try to help out on that Gazlo, but it didn't appear that ended up being an opportunity. So we're going to go for Fury of the Sunwell at 16 now. This will make my Flame Strike so that it lands twice now in the same spot with a minor delay. This is a lot more effective than you initially think. I'm going to go ahead and take care of those turrets for my team. See right there, it makes wave clear a non-issue. I'm going to spread that flame around. I do drop the ult right there. We're just doing so much damage to these guys. But I'm hurt. Oh my god, I didn't notice my health. That's my fault. They need to get out of there as fast as possible. I understand that the kill is right there, but it's not worth it when he's got so much protection around him. And we lost a lot of coins right there, too. That's not good. That being said, that was our first death. Thankfully, it came after we already completed the quest. So there was no, like, double loss right there, if you will. I'll say that much. This build is high risk, high reward. If you get to, like, 18 or 19 stacks and you get killed, you're going to be pretty fucking pissed off. I had a buddy of mine once actually cost me this quest. I always bring it up whenever we talk about anything regarding the heroes. I always bring it up and give him shit for getting me killed one time because he had a living bomb on him, ironically, and he walked right next to me, got me killed, and I lost all my stacks, which effectively nerfed my damage output by a large amount, an insurmountable amount, if you will. And if he's watching this video right now, I have nothing to say that's proper for this video. But anyway, what are we doing right now? We're defending. We are currently defending. The enemy team has 20 coins, so this is absolutely the right call. The thing is, I need to be careful with my positioning again because I am the damage on this team right now. So if I go down, our team fight potential goes down immediately. So I do need to be careful. I really wish I had that 20 upgrade already so that I could actually cast my spells from a little bit further. But we'll make do with this. I'm going to throw that out there in advance. We do stun ETC. The bomb is passing around. Gazlo did step right back into my ult. So again, we're getting mass value out of these fire placements right now. That one may not have been the best flame strike in the world. They could just lock him down for a moment. Pretty sure we got the second strike off on ETC. I do want to stay close to my teammates here to make it a little bit harder for Nova to actually target me. Now I'm going to disengage and back away and try to hit a fountain if I possibly can. Nova could be roaming right now, just looking for me at the moment, which if I were her, that's what I'd be doing because I saw that I was a low target. But I'm going to take a chance here. I'm going to get a little bit ballsy because I don't think I could afford to be away from my team for too long. We do get one regen globe right there. We should be getting another one out of this camp. I'm going to stay right down here so that she has to make a hard decision on whether or not she wants to go after me. So again, we got 2 regen globes out of that. Oh my god, I got angled out of getting a third one. That would have been my full health back right there. Alright, so this is going to be another big defense right here. We were able to wipe them in these close quarters right here. I don't think ETC should be that far out. Our advantage is this close proximity, like between the hammer and her range and my AoE damage. Like, we need to keep this close. That's why it worked in the last big team fight. And it seems like the enemy team is getting a little bit smarter. You know what? If they wanted, they could go boss right now. Because we're fully committed to defending. We're not moving anywhere. Like, we're just completely all in on defense. So if they wanted, they could go boss. And you see my teammates are finally starting to pick up on this right now. I don't want to be the one to chance this, and I don't necessarily think they would do it without Li Ming. But at the same time, you never know. You can't be sure. You can't be too sure. So I'm going to play this safe. Yep, they absolutely did. I called it. So we're going to stay back now. Nova, that was definitely a misclick. I know exactly what that was because I do that all the time when I play Nova. She was just trying to get into position, and she clicked on a minion by mistake and auto-attacked it, giving away her position. All right, so thankfully that we weren't in a big position where that's going to cost us. I'm going to drop that. Might have did it a little prematurely position-wise, but I'm going to throw everything I got at this thing to try and get it down. Our teammates appear to be holding back the enemy team, which is crazy. And look at that. 2 of us were able to take it down in fairly good time. Now we do need to make our way over. I don't have an ult anymore because I just burned it on the defense. But we do have flamethrower now, so we are going to be able to cast this from a lot farther. And I'm going to put this right on the chest to try to get max value out of that. Nova is going to try and delay me a little bit here. There she goes. She's going to kill me. I do get max value out of that damage placement right there. But nobody there to follow up, which is not anybody's fault necessarily, but it just kind of happened that way. They kind of caught me off guard there, to be brutally honest. I wasn't expecting them to push me like that. Hammer needs to be careful here big time. Like, It would be nice if Nova was the one that had the coins, but she only has 2 of their coins, so they kind of lucked out right there. Well, they probably meant to do that, but it was a lucky situation. I don't know why these two aren't going for this. You're both up there right now. We have a keep. We have 20. I'm not seeing it. So I think that's something to be mindful of. Those two could have definitely taken that camp with relative ease. No problem. And then gotten the XP after, but who knows? What do I know? Gotta make this work. So now, instead of having that camp pushing for us to go defend right away, we have to go deal with it now, a little bit late. I'm going to try and get these guys off of this objective as fast as possible. And we're going to leave. We need to defend. I do have my heroic off cooldown right now, so there is that. I'm just going to go ahead and burn it. I do need to be careful here, because Nova could be directly behind us. I'm going to put that right there on the mosh pit. You got crazy amounts of burst damage out of that. We need to be very careful here. Very careful. Bodies are flying right now, but I'm not sure whose. There's so much going on right here. I'm pretty sure we missed Diablo right there. I thought we did hit him, but we missed. Thankfully, the enemy team was the one that actually felt the full effect of that. Now, ETC did pursue that Nova kill right there, which unfortunately went bad for him. Is that Nova right there? Okay, she went away. I'm not chasing that. I am not. I want no part of her. Unfortunately, we don't have the necessary coins either to kind of finish this, the turn in. But on the flip side, though, we have a little bit of a push going here. I'm putting that right on there, and I'm stepping out because I am not a tank. Cannot take that damage. I'm gonna put that right on Diablo. We may actually win this right here, but I am about to die too, so I do need to be careful. We're going to go ahead and lock down that Diablo. Do get that kill. I'm going to put that Flame Strike right on ETC. Do get a lot of burst damage on it. We need to back away. We need to back away. We need to back away. I don't know about that call. I mean, yeah, you can make the case that we have the core down to 29%. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take the biggest chance right now and recall right here and pray to God that Nova's not looking. All right, so we were able to get away with it. So we got some significant core damage. I really wish Hammer's bullet was actually on the defense point because they have more than enough to defend this. They have more than enough to turn in. And I don't know, I don't remember the cooldown for that ability either, so I can't like make a gauge on it. So that was my one out right there to defend. My one major out with my Phoenix. It'll be on a cooldown for the next 50 seconds. Oh, that was almost a money play right there. And Hammer does actually change her bullet placement, so that's fantastic. It's very good. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Get our guy off of this chest as fast as possible. He does have all the coins right now, so we need to get back up and defend Hammer. I'm going to put that right there. Diablo's standing directly in the middle of that, so he took the full damage of that. I'm going to leave that again. Again, when we hit more than one target, we're getting a lot more damage out of that. So that's the reason why I'm getting a little bit ballsy with my positioning here whenever I see them clumped up. There we go. Hammer's bullet might actually be hitting the core, and it actually was. That's crazy. Or maybe it wasn't that so much as the Winions. Either way, we still got a win out of it, which is fantastic. Fantastic. And furthermore, more importantly, we were able to show off the new look for Kael'Thas. This is basically what they want out of him. This is what they want the Kael'Thas fan base to adjust to. They want him to be the AoE fire mage. And honestly, if you can commit to this and you can get your Flame Strike build done, you will definitely see some high value out of this. Like, the damage numbers were pretty high. Not as high as the last game that I did as a warm-up, but I don't care because we won this game. And I still feel like I did a good job of showcasing exactly where this thing shines. So I'm an average Kael'Thas user. Imagine a very, very high-level Kael'Thas user. They would be, like, going crazy on teams like this. And again, this is also something that if you're planning to play against Kael'Thas users, you need to be mindful of. You need to be mindful of the fact that if he specs into the AoE build the same way that I did, which I will go into the talent build in a minute. If he specs into it the same way that I spec into it, or he or she, if they spec into it the same way that I do, and they actually complete the Flame Quest build at level 1, you cannot afford to be clumped up. Now, granted, the map was kind of helping with that because the main point on the map is a choke point. It's very, very closed off. So by default, more often than not, the enemy team was clumped up because they had to go for turn-ins and whatnot. So this was a perfect map. If anything, this might show that Kael'Thas is a very, very good pick on Blackheart's Bay if you can actually pull off the AoE build. Now, talking about the build itself, we're going to go over it. At level 1, I went for Convection. Every time Flame Strike damages an enemy hero, it increases its damage by 5 up to 100. You lose all damage bonuses if you die. That's the big part of this. The reward is that after gaining 100 Flame Strike damage, increase Flame Strike damage by an additional 100 and no longer lose any bonuses if you die. Now, you may not think that the additional 100 is a big deal, but when you tack on the extra upgrades to Flame Strike to go along with the fully spec'd out Convection quests, that's when you see the upside. At level 4, I personally went for Mana Tap. Activating Verdant Spears restores 4% of your maximum mana. In the meta right now with the game, you'll never see this picked, but this is just something that I feel comfortable with. And like an extra 4%, I feel like as the game goes on, it's going to become something meaningful, and it's going to kind of help me have mana more often than not. At level 7, this is kind of a big one. I went for Burned Flesh. When Flame Strike damages 2 or more heroes, they take an additional damage equal to 8% of their maximum health. Now, I was actually pulling this off quite well this game to go along with the fact that they had double warriors. So those guys, when they got hit by this, they were feeling it a ton. At level 10, I went for Phoenix. You launch a Phoenix to an area, dealing 78 damage to enemies along the way. The Phoenix persists for 7 seconds, attacking enemies for 78 damage, splashing 50%. Now, I have mentioned this on previous videos, but these numbers you're seeing right here, this 78 and this 100 and stuff like that, these are what the numbers look like before you start a game. Like, if you had to look at read what these things did, this would be the numbers you would see at the start of a game. So these numbers actually do scale upward as you're playing, as you're leveling up. If you were to look at these same talents in-game at level 20, you'll find that these numbers are a lot higher. So do not be swayed off of picking this just because you see a low number like 78. At level 13, I went for Backdraft. Living Bombs Explosion slows enemy movement speed by 30% for 2 seconds. So this is basically something that I queued on, hoping that they would spread the bomb and make it easier for me to land my Flame Strikes. I actually think that I got mass value out of this. At level 16, Fury of the Sunwell. Flame Strike will explode for a second time 1.5 seconds later. Again, if you can get situations where targets are locked down and you can actually hit them with this twice, it is monstrous damage. And I think, again, I got lucky and I was fortunate enough to actually show that. And finally, at level 20, this is the big one. Flamethrower increases the cast range of Flame Strike by 40%. If you hit 2 or more heroes, Flame Strike's cooldown is reduced by 4 seconds. Now, I don't think I actually noticed that cooldown reduction, but at the same time, it could be because I didn't plan on using my Flame Strike unless I had my my trait off of a cooldown. So that's something that I didn't really notice, but I do always notice the extra range on the Q ability. So there you have it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I absolutely, after really committing to it, at first I wasn't on board with it, but I realized you have to commit to this build and just go all in on it to really see the upside and the value of it. And once I did that, I'm absolutely on board with this new Kael'Thas. Again, if you're wondering if he got nerfed or anything like that, just look at the amount of damage we were able to put out there. We were pretty close to the Li Ming. And Li Ming is like one of the best damage dealers in the game right now, arguably the best mage in the game. And you see that Kael'Thas with the new change was still able to keep up with it just fine in this one particular case. So do not be swayed off of that, thinking that because they changed him that he's definitely nerfed. and he's not going to see any play anymore. Because I have heard that too. Like, people say that he's not going to see any play where it matters anymore because of these new changes. But I think that might be a mistake on some players' part if they don't actually take the time to learn how to use this the proper way. There is massive upside. However, if it does turn into a situation where nobody's picking Kael'Thas, that means that nobody's going to be banning him either. So if nobody's banning him and you've been putting in the time and getting good at him, this may turn into a situation where people are wondering why you pick him until you show them what you can do, and then all of a sudden they have nothing to say. So there's an opportunity. As always, I appreciate the support. This is Achilles LBT. As always, that's Achilles with the Z. Remember it.